Hello, welcome to the Gulf Coast State College Aquatics Center. With this time that we're in right now, with this coronavirus, it's going to be a little hard to find swim lessons for your children. I hope this video will help you, give you some ideas on how you can help to teach your child to swim yourself. We're going to start off with some breathing. You have to know how to breathe to swim. We inhale through our mouth, we exhale through our nose when we swim. When we exhale, we need to control the exhale. We're going to use our diaphragm muscle. The easiest way to teach a child to learn how to use those muscles is to hum. When we hum, the air comes out of our nose. You're controlling that hum for a longer period of time because of that muscle. As you get better at this, the pressure of the water will help you to control that exhale. So what we want to do is I have our famous swimming assistant here, Sharon Yarbrough, and she's going to help us to demonstrate some of these activities. Let's just start with some basic submerging, air coming through her nose, and then she's going to come up and take a breath, and then she's going to go back down. You want to try to do this in a rhythmic fashion. You could submerge for 1 or 2 seconds and just keep that same rhythm. When you swim, you're swimming rhythmically. You have to. Those bubbles are coming out of her nose. She's not coming up, exhaling more through her mouth. Just as you break the surface, exhale strongly. That'll help to clear the water away from your mouth. Take the big breath and do it again. Always fill up your lungs. Big breaths, no baby breaths when you swim. Okay, so let's say they can't quite touch the bottom or they're a little unsteady. You can come up to the side of the pool. And you can hang on to the side and you can do the same thing. We call this bobbing. This is a good way to start your practice. You want to try to start off with about 5. At some point, if you can get yourself up to where you're doing 10, 15, even 20 bobs at a time, very controlled. As they get better with this, you'll see the comfort level increase. In the beginning, don't rush this, okay? You need to have more patience than they are, okay? Because they're gonna go under and then they're gonna stop and they're gonna come up coughing and spitting because as soon as you stop exhaling under the water, that pressure is gonna want to force it back up their nose. And that's gonna cause them to get a little panicky. So just take your time with this and be very, very patient. We're gonna talk about floating on your back. This is a self-rescue. If you can float on your back, you should be able to save yourself in any situation, especially for the little ones. This is real important for them. All right? Now, we're going to show you what to do, but also what not to do. For example, if you decide, okay, I want to float on my back, what not to do? See what happens? She's submerged. Okay? Now she's got water up her nose. She's coming up coughing. She doesn't have enough arms to raise to cough it out. So you want to do this very gently. Just sit back. Put your head back, put those arms out. Take a big breath initially. By putting the arms up and back, it's going to help change your center of balance, and her legs will come right up, okay? If you put your arms at the sides, you'll sink down. You'll have a tendency to want to sit in the water. If you try to look at your feet to see what they're doing, it's going to change your balance again. Your head has a lot to do with your balance. But she just lays back, and the more she stretches out, especially for boys and men, our muscles do not float well, okay? You've got to get those arms back. For me, I get my arms all the way back, and it brings my feet right up. If I put my arms on my sides, my legs will drop down like this. So it's just a matter of how buoyant you are. Okay, come back up here. I want them to see this next part. When they're on their back, you've got to be able to recover from this, okay? So there is some tricks to do that too. So she's on her back. All you have to do is draw your knees up and lean forward, and it's like a little roll. Then once you start to feel that motion, you can use your arms to push or pull yourself. It takes a little practice. And parents, if you're doing this with the kids, you want to be right there, okay? You want to be in the pool. You don't necessarily want them to be doing this on their own because they're going to need that support from you. Do the roll. There you go. She just uses her arms to push herself the rest of the way up. You notice her face did go down in. She was blowing bubbles out of her nose, okay? So when they're doing this, big inhale. That's why the bobbing is so important. They can learn to do so much, and they'll have so much more fun in the water if they learn how to breathe, okay? All right. We're going to do some floating on our stomach. Now, back in the day, you had, I think the new wording is a jellyfish float. It was also called a dead man's float. This is a survival swim in itself, because if you're out in the middle of some place that you can't get to or you get real tired, you can float like this, reach up, use your arms and pull your head up, big breath, and put your head back in the water. Anytime you're doing this, or if you're swimming under the water, you don't necessarily want to let all of your air out, especially if you're swimming under the water. You want to hold that breath. But doing this, just before you come back up to pull, blow it all out through your nose as you surface the water, and then you'll be able to take that big breath. Now, if she wanted to recover from this position, it's the same effect. Just brings her knees up underneath, lean back, and your body will roll. All they got to do then is stand up, okay? Okay, so you've got the bobbing. You can breathe. You can float on your back, so if you get tired, you can float on your stomach with your face in the water. This is a big step, because what we're going to do next is we're going to start learning how to swim. Go ahead. She's going to push off the pool, put her face in the water, and she's going to put those arms in a streamlined position. This is not streamlined. This is not streamlined. Those arms need to be tight right across the back of your ears. What we're trying to do is eliminate form drag. We can't eliminate it all because we're a body going through water. But we can make ourselves as skinny as possible going through that water, so that water just flows around us. What she's going to do, she's going to take a big breath. She's going to push off that wall. She's not going to kick right now, just so you see how far you go. Go ahead. Nice and straight. She got out past the flag. She's probably got 12 yards there, give or take. Good. Now, you don't have to have a wall to do it. You can do it from here. Just push off the bottom and she still gets a lot of distance. If she had her arms out here, she'd be catching a lot of water. If she got her arms bent, she's catching a lot of water. Now, if they're a little unsteady with that, pool noodles are cheap. Have some pool noodles at the pool. Go ahead and grab that noodle. She can push off using the noodle, especially for the really little kids that aren't really comfortable with this, and even some adults. Okay, you do the same thing, push off. Now you see how much more drag is affected with that pool noodle out in front. They're not going to go as far, but they get a comfort level with that, okay? So let's put the noodle up for a minute. We're going to add some legs to this. We need to have a nice, steady flutter kick where the feet are at the top of the water. You want to boil the water. You don't need big old splashes, big old feet. Nice and small, nice and fast. Go ahead. And see, she just goes. You want those toes pointed. You don't want to have your foot against your leg like this. You can actually go backwards because of the pressure on your foot. But point those nice and fast. Do it coming back. Good, good, good. All right. With the noodle, the same thing. This can give them some practice with their kick, just using the noodle. Go ahead. And we're going to practice breathing. So she's going to push off with the noodle, take her big breath, push off. She can blow her bubbles. When she needs a breath, she's going to stick her head up and take her breath right now. And again, you want to try to make it rhythmic. If they can count their kicks. If you try to give them too much, it can be a little confusing, so be patient with this and take them one baby step at a time. Do it again, going back, please.
How many kids? 6?
No, it don't matter. I'm being patient. Once they start to get comfortable with this, then they'll be able to find a rhythm that feels good to them. All right, we're going to go back for just a moment and revisit the floating on your back. Once the child is really comfortable with floating, for them to be able to move, and this would be a situation where maybe they got a little distressed and they were on their own, if they can float on their back, they can get to the side and save themselves. So float on your back. Once she's established, she can start to kick her feet. Use a flutter kick, because they're not going to know that yet. She can use her arms and help her push along, just like that. You could use an analogy of like a bird flapping their wings. Okay, come back this way. Elementary arms or the flutter kick. She's bringing those arms all the way up to her armpits and then pushing away. It gets on the flutter kick will help her to keep her legs up. It will give her some propulsion. But the arm motion here is where the power is in the stroke that she's swimming anyway. Okay, so we got one more thing we want to do. We're going to talk about putting some of this together, okay? Initially, we're going to push off the wall, be face down. We're going to take 4 strokes and not breathe. And then you're going to pull up and stand up. 4 swimming strokes without breathing. Keep the head straight, keep your head down. Don't hold your head up, put stress on your neck. Keep your head down, keep your spine in line, okay? Go ahead. The motion should be very smooth. You're reaching out in front. You're grabbing the water and pushing it all the way past you. This is what's making you move through the water. Okay, let's do it again, same thing. Your hands and your arms are your paddle. Use your paddle to the fullest extent, just like if you were paddling that canoe or kayak. You're pushing all the way through. Do the same thing when you swim. We're going to add some breathing to this. Initially, when we're teaching people, especially the little ones, to swim, we just tell them, just get your breath however you can. Lifting their head up to get it is the easiest thing right now. But we want to try to do this every 3rd stroke. And we'll explain the reason when we get to the next little bit. Just lift up forward, yep. 3 strokes and breathe. Now you notice she's still kicking. You have to kick through the breath. And you don't want to pause. You can't stop your stroke. You need to keep the motion going, get your breath. This is why the bobbing is so important. It becomes rhythmic. You learn to time the inhale or the exhale with the inhale with the arm stroke. And then down, and then breathe. And I'm taking that breath at the end of the stroke. But I'm putting my head right back down before my hand hits the water in front of me, okay? All right. Let's do the same thing one more time. All right, great. Now, you don't want to swim like that. It's not as comfortable. It's not as efficient, okay? And if you're swimming for any kind of distance, that's really going to tire you out, especially your neck. But you want to keep that head down like you're looking at the bottom of the pool. And when she goes to breathe this time, she's going to breathe to the side. This is why we're going to breathe every 3 strokes. If you breathe odd numbers, it will alternate your breathing, okay? It'll make you a bilateral breather. You want that. So you get a breath, and 1, 2, breathe, 1, 2, breathe. This is going to equal out your stroke. We all have a dominant side. One arm, one leg is going to be pulling and kicking harder than the other. Bilateral breathing will help to teach you to balance out your swimming. I'm a right-handed person. My left hand is my weakest. That took me longer to learn to do it as well as I do it on my right side. So it will take practice. Just go halfway. Breathing every 3rd stroke. She's pulling all the way through her body. You see her hand comes past her hips. Her kick is nice and smooth. It's at the surface. She's just rolling her body. She is not allowing her head to leave the surface of the water. Her head stays in contact with the water. Do it again coming back. She's keeping that ear on the water. You don't lift the head to breathe. It's just a nice, smooth stroke. Learn to swim slow. Speed is easy. That's just more power under the water. Right now, you need to learn to get the mechanics down. This is the regular swimmer's backstroke or back crawl. The kick is the same, but on your back, you want that arm to come right past your head. Your thumb comes out first. Your little pinky hits the water first. That hand goes into the water right in front of your shoulder, okay? You don't want to get out here. You don't want to do this. This can be a very comfortable stroke, and if you take it nice and slow and learn to keep your balance, it too can save your life. All of this swimming can save your life. I hope this helps. If you have questions, call us. 872-3832. That's the number to the pool. If you have questions about swimming, Sharon or I will be happy to help. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.